Uber, I think Uber will come later, but these huge companies we talk about now, were you looking at that? Were you looking out and seeing that happen and starting to think to yourself, what could I do? What's an idea I could maybe bring onto the world? Rohan, were you thinking that way?
Yeah, actually, it was. I think it was when the Facebook platform first came out, and I think that was the first time that I really started to think about what could I build on top of this platform. And I always wanted to start my own company. The reality was that I was still on an H-1B visa, and I couldn't. And so I just continued working at Google and just kept building stuff there, hoping that one day I would get a green card so that I could work in my own company.
And Paul, what about you? While you were at business school, I mean, a lot of folks we've had on the show who have been to the GSB, like Andy Dunn of Bonobos and others. I mean, they met their co-founders at in business school, or they developed a network of people that they would eventually work with. Were you thinking? Were you like constantly thinking, what's the thing I could do? I could start.
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, and it's funny. I remember Ryan Spaley, who's Andy Dunn's
Sure.
co-founder. They were both classmates of mine. And I remember one day in class, Spaley was coming up and he was looking at my pants from all different angles. And I said, may I help you? And he said, I'm thinking of starting a pants company, and I wanted to ask you some questions about pants. And I remember him selling the first pairs out of the trunk of his car and trying to convince Dunn to come in and start it with him. And another classmate of mine was working at Facebook at the time, and she was trying to decide whether to drop out of school. And we were thinking, I remember talking about it and saying, well, MySpace is a lot bigger, but Facebook is growing a lot faster. And then another friend of ours joined Facebook in 2006, and I said, oh, that's cool that he joined Facebook. Too bad he didn't join really early. And I mean, you're constantly being inspired by people doing things like that.
And Paul, you went to go work for a company called Benchmark,
That's right.
the venture fund, to work as an entrepreneur in residence. And basically, while you were at Benchmark, I guess you had like more than maybe 10, up to 10 different ideas that you were kind of noodling on. Probably some were just, notes on paper, and others maybe you got a little bit deeper on. And I know you eventually landed on one called Highlight, which we'll talk about in a sec. But tell me what some of your ideas were there.
Oh man, I probably had hundreds of different ideas, and they were probably mostly bad ones. There were problems that I wanted to solve in the world, but people was the theme that I kept going back to a lot. Right? This notion that the people in our lives, the people we become friends with, the people we marry, the people we do things with, the people we start companies with, they're the most important thing. I mean, nothing affects our lives and our happiness more than the people around us, but the way that we learn about people and the way that we bring new people into our lives is just incredibly random and inefficient. And so I ended up working on Highlight in that spirit, but I'd also looked at new ways to think about dating services, friend matching services, or other related products.
Let's talk about Highlight for a moment.
Yeah.
Because and no judgment. I'm not judging you, but it sounds creepy. This sounds creepy. It sounds a little creepy. You land on this idea called Highlight, and you actually pursued it. This was a real product available, an app available, and basically it would use your phone's location, and then the app would tell you, based on your location, it would say, hey, this person who is a mutual friend of yours is around, or this person has shares your interests and they're around too, and it would enable you to have serendipitous meetups. In I don't know, you're walking around, let's just say part of San Francisco, and you look at the app and you're like, oh, there's somebody who shares my interests, and they're turning a corner, and we might meet up right now.
That's right.
It's an interesting concept.
And it was all opt-in, so it only worked with other people who also had chosen to install the app and wanted to be part of it.